Good afternoon everyone, my name's Chris OBrien, I'm a project manager for Interserves. Coming here today really to give us a bit of an update on where we are with one of the live projects we've got on AM6 for OBrien Water. The project's Barkershaugh. We're just going to look at a few ways of how we've been building it and also the 4D construction and simulation. So it's going to be presented by myself from Interserves and Adam from Wood. So the main two drivers for the Barkershaugh projects, the main driver was the consent. We were having issues with the phosphorus and the iron on site. So we've now got a consent date of the 31st of December 2018. And the other driver was the capacity in Durham. The size of Durham and all the students that's getting into Durham, we needed more capacity in the tanks to make sure the effluent was correct leaving the site. To do that, we looked at a few different options, and in the end we come in to put 6 new settlement tanks in. 3 would handle the phosphorus and the iron consent, and the other 3 large tanks would handle the growth population for the project. Throughout the project we've looked at creativity and innovation on the project, and today we're just going to show you a few different things that we've been doing throughout it. So one of them is we're building the tanks out of concrete precast wall units. So each of the tanks we're putting in the precast units, and then we're putting infills around to form, which you'll soon see on one of the videos. The benefits we've found with the concrete precast wall units is the quality assurance on them. They're cast outside of the site and then they're transported to site, so we can go off site and see how they're built. They can all be checked when they get to site. All quality assurance is checked before they're put into place. Traditionally we've done tanks in situ concrete, which when you're building them, there's the health and safety benefits we're using at the present are way bigger than they are in the in situ. We don't have large shutters on site. We don't have rebar around on site, like large masses of rebar. We're not using the crane to lift in large shutters. We've got the lads aren't working at height, they're not working off ladders, they're not working off scaffold, all over the place. Yes, there's a little bit needed, but the precast units are pretty much dropped in. We'll put the small infills inside and pour from there. Obviously with that, the minimisation of the product on site, the housekeeping, it means the housekeeping's very good and they haven't got material all over the site. The delivery of units as well, that's timed. We're working in the city centre, so we time that so we're not going through rush hour, we're not taking wagons through the city centre at rush hour. We know when the units are coming to site, so it's a lot easier on site for that delivery. So one of the other things we've been looking at on site, innovation and creativity, we can call it on site. So from the start of the project, we've used a drone on the site, which captured the whole of the site, the existing works, and then on a monthly basis, we're using the drone to come on site and shows the progress on site on a monthly basis, which keeps ourselves updated, it keeps the client updated, it keeps the local community updated. We use the OBrien Water Community Portal on a monthly basis to show that to the community. Basically, it keeps them updated where the site is. Also, with the use of the drone, we use it for site layouts, so you get a current on the month, up to date where the project is, and you can plan out your site layout, your fire escapes, your CDM working areas, and that can be updated on a monthly basis, which is a massive benefit to the site team. And educational purposes, I'll put the video on now and it'll show you the drone. So I put down educational because what we are planning on doing, which is happening in the process, is we're going to bring in local schools, local colleges, just to show them where the waste from Durham comes from and where it goes to and how it's treated before it goes into the river. So the drone footage can show us that, and also so that's the benefit of the waste leaving Durham. We can also look at what we're bringing to the project and what we're bringing to that waste system and what Interserves is bringing in and how we're building it and these new modern day technologies of construction. So I'll just pop the video on there. Yeah, so as you can see, the video shows the existing works and shows where the waste treated from Durham. Very self-explanatory, the waste through the inlet works, through the filters. through the settlement, and then back out of the River Wear at the back end of the site. So the drones captured this from the start of the project, which shows all the existing works which have been, present at Barkershaugh for a long time. So now we're going to start moving on to what we're actually bringing into Barkershaugh and the new assets that's getting delivered. So as you can see, this is the start of the project. This was back in December when we started excavating for where the new 6 tanks would be constructed. We then put a cofferdam in. That's the pad for the outskirts of the cofferdam, as you can see. Stone got laid once the cofferdam was installed. Obviously we were very close to the river, so we had the mitigation of the water in there as well. So then we move on to the precast units, as I was speaking of there. So we drop the units in, singularly they stand up. We then form the base and the cone of the tanks. And the concrete gets poured, and then we go around and put the small 500mm infills in around to form the tank. Each tank, there's 4 loads on a wagon, and each tank can be put up in place within 3 days. And then it's just putting the infills and the base in to form one full tank. So we do think the drone brings a lot to the project, keeping ourselves updated, the client updated, and also the local community on where we are. Right, I'll pass you on to Adam from Wood now.
Hello, I'm Adam Robson from Wood. I work in the digital construction team, and one item that we have been implementing on Barkershaugh is 4D programming. So this is taking the 3D design model and then linking it to the program. We do this via using existing modeling software, so all the known authoring tools such as Autodesk or Bentley. It will import all the models directly from them, as well as some specialist software. And then we also import the construction program, which is, in this case, was provided to us by Interserves. It'll bring in Primavera, Microsoft Project. There's a list of 5 or 6 different softwares that it will all take. So the idea of this tool, this 4D tool, Synchro Professional, is it is fully collaborative, and it'll allow us to work with the main contractor or the smaller supply chain as well. The beauty of Synchro software in particular is if there is ever a program update or a model change, it is a live link, so it can be a click of a button and we can bring in that new data. So if the program activity has changed slightly, we can bring that in straight away. We don't have to relink the whole program. Same with the modeling. If we change the design slightly, again, we can bring in the new model and it will update and maintain that link. Taking Synchro on one step further, what we can do is we can cost load it as well. So obviously this is a 4D tool, so that's the model plus time from the program. But if we cost load the program, add the resources in there, we can turn it into a 5D model as well, which is another part on the BIM procedure and a BIM aim target. 4D can be used for digital rehearsal, lean programming, site logistics, health and safety, value engineering and commercial evidence, as well as virtual reality, and on the next slide I'll touch a little bit more on all of them. So digital rehearsal, from a digital rehearsal point of view, we can gather all the supply chain that are on that site into one room. We can run through the model, show the 4D model, showing what activities are live at that time, how they impact on other supply chain providers. From the site logistics point of view, I think you can see there we've got some little rollers and dozers whizzing about on the screen. So what we've done is we've actually programmed in those plant activities so we can see where the plant movements are, and this obviously gives us an opportunity that potentially we could add additional resource to that activity and then speed up the program, which is obviously beneficial for the project. Then from a value engineering point of view, for value engineering, we can run different scenarios. So as I said, if we update the model, we can bring in the two different models and run them side by side. So if we're at the early stage of a project, so like this, it was going to be in situ concrete, we obviously changed to precast. So we could run those two scenarios side by side and see that option A comes in X amount days earlier, but it's X amount more, and vice versa. From a health and safety point of view, we can obviously use this for the visual method statement. So you can see there we've got a crane doing a lifting activity. We can use this video to show to the workforce to highlight the areas that are high risk and potentially dangerous. And obviously it's a lot more engaging than sitting the workforce down and going through a full PowerPoint presentation. From the commercial side, as I mentioned in the value engineering, we can run different scenarios. So when it comes to getting compensation events from supply chain or whoever it may be, we can show the two scenarios where the delay occurred, where the costs applied, and then use that as evidence to show that we did think about it and this is why and the reasons for happening. And then taking this further, these 4D models can feed into VR headsets, so we can use it for the stakeholder engagement. We can put this model into a headset. The client can be stood on his site, and by clicking the buttons he can see the scheme being built around him. He can skip through it a week at a time and see the whole thing coming together and hopefully give them an idea of what it's going to look like. Obviously that can be shown to the public as well. So that's the 4D side of it. We are available on stand 4, so if you do have any more questions about the 4D, feel free to ask us and we can go through it in more detail. But on exhibition stand 4, we do have our digital twin concept. So between ourselves, Interserves and Xylem, we've worked together on the digital twin prototype, and the idea is it's got 4 different modes. So we've got a fully model from Xylem and a 3D print, so we've got the actual asset and the 3D print. This digital twin, it will pull down all the data. So the first option, mode 1, is specification. So we can click on the model and view the specification for that product. It's actually using the product data templates from Northumbria Water, so it's actually their list of asset information requirements. We've got mode 2, which is design and construct. That mode is for the use of designers or contractors who are looking at the design and will need to see how that pump needs to be installed correctly. And then we have mode 3, which is live data. So obviously today, because we've got a 3D printed pump, it isn't actual live data, but it is live data we've captured previously. We can show this on the iPad in this particular instance, and it shows the operating performance of this particular asset. And then the idea is that you will be able to see any issues in its operation and performance and be able to take and then carry out the necessary actions. And then mode 4 is maintenance. So as I said about the 4D and using it for method statements and health and safety briefings, this maintenance mode will show you how to take apart that pump efficiently and safely, replace the defect part, and then return it again. And that's it for our presentation. As I said, we've got the design sprint 9 going on across the track, and then obviously we're on exhibition stand 4 if you have any further questions or anything like that. Thank you.